You only need to know 5 meals to eat like a pro athlete, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to cook them. If you can master these simple 5 meals, you'll never have to worry about your performance nutrition again. Boy legends, and welcome to a pretty epic video because this is the 5 dishes that every athlete should know how to cook. It's true the fact that 39% of Americans do not cook on a regular basis. In fact, 69% of collegiate students said if there was a cooking class available, they would go. Maybe that is the reason as to why we do not see people cooking more. And so if that is the case, in this video, I'm gonna show you these fundamental things so you can put them in your own kitchen. Let's go check it out. So a lot of you know me as somewhat of an athlete, some of you may know me as a chef. Today I'm going to show you some basic principles on fundamental dishes to next level your meal prep, and we're starting with eggs. I have cooked tens of thousands of eggs for breakfast game as a chef. This is what we do. And I would say 9 out of 10 people still don't know how to do scrambled eggs correctly. They're dry, they're overcooked, but they still get in the nutritional value that you're after. Well, what if I could show you how to make them not only that same principle, but also delicious? Make you excited to cook breakfast. I'll show you how. So first thing for scrambled eggs is to get them to the right consistency in the scramble phase, and it's pretty simple. This is what you're looking for. Salt before we scramble. And this is because it helps the consistency of actually breaking it up. Again, not getting it too sciencey, just trust me on that one. This is what you're looking for. So nice ribbon-like consistency. You're gonna wait until the butter is foamy or frothing. Next, add your eggs and be patient. You're waiting for the bottom to coagulate or go hard. The top will stay runny, at which point you will use your spatula and slide the eggs back towards you, creating the layer effect. Now this does take practice, but once you perfect it, you get a soft base and slightly runny on top. Then everything here I have is pretty much anything you'd have at home. So it's like only 2 or 3 elements, all still in the packaging. Like this could be a hot sauce, just happens to be my leftover chimichurri that I made. So you just add hot sauce instead. And like this is the same ingredients you all will have at home. So you have some sort of leafy, some sort of hot sauce, you got eggs and a tortilla. Now, between all that, you still got some deliciousness. And you're gonna say, oh, that looks great. Like, you guys can make this. This is so possible just by using that simple technique. So now you know the perfection of scrambled eggs, at least the folded scrambled eggs. Remember, ribbon-like consistency, bubbly butter, hot pan, get your fold on. Yes, chef. Alright, so this next one, this is calling on every single person who cooks chicken breast religiously. And I say this because that's pretty much all of you, no doubt, unless you're a vegan or vegetarian. Chicken breast is something that we know across America and the world is undoubtedly the most popular protein to cook. The problem is, most people cook this form of protein to the worst conditions. They do it as a necessity just to get the protein in and the other nutrients we need without the regard of actually how to cook it to perfection, and that is what I'm going to show you today. Most people cook chicken breasts by doing so on a stovetop, flipping multiple times until it looks like it is cooked through. The problem in doing this is that it is direct heat from one direction, in this case from the bottom, without actually knowing what's going on the inside, because you cook the top and the bottom and guessing in the center. This technique is going to show you how to cook one side directly and then flip it over before putting it in the oven. Not only does this allow for a more accurate cooking of chicken breast itself, but it is way more juicier. So So the first thing you want to do is actually bring it out to room temperature. This is typically going to take around 7 to 10 minutes, and you're going to salt the skin side. So after salting your chicken breast, you're going to add a pan to a medium-high heat stovetop. Once it gets to a little bit of heat, you're going to add your olive oil. The first mistake I see people make is actually agitate the chicken. Just avoid it, be patient, wait 3 to 4, even 5 to 6 minutes, depending on the size of the chicken breast, for that golden crust to emerge. Now, this is the game changer. Once it's ready, flip it over, and then you're gonna put it in your preheated oven at about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. If you forgot to preheat your oven, you can also just put a lid on top and turn the heat to low. Now, the easiest way to determine if a chicken breast is cooked without cutting into it is simply put a knife or a fork into the thickest part, hold it for 3 seconds, and then put it to your bottom lid. If it's cold, keep it going. If it's hot, it's perfect. If it's piercing hot, it's overcooked. What you're doing is you're avoiding cooking from one direction the whole time. The stove heat is directional heat, whereas oven heat comes from all the way around. It is dry, which means you get juicy chicken whilst avoiding that overcooked outside.
Is this where you take your meetings, bro?
Yeah, this is my office. This is my office.
Check this out. This is, I mean, it's a pretty sweet office.
It's not bad, right? Yeah, I mean, better than a WeWork.
Yeah. All right, legends, we're down here in Thompson Street in Greenwich Village, outside of Leon's Bagels, the very first Leon's Bagels, to meet up with Chris, the founder. Leon is actually his grandfather, named after him. As you guys know, I'm building Alma, and in the lead up to New York City Marathon, I'm looking for ways we can activate, really showcase the community. As a product around food, I want to highlight what really cool brands are doing that in a hard industry. F&B is such a hard industry, I know firsthand myself, so I want to support them in some way, get them to support us, build out some really cool opportunities. And so stay tuned, because in the lead up to New York City Marathon, Alma and Leon's Bagels, we're going to do some cool shit together. So this is Chris. So every time you think of Leon's Bagels, other than the delicious breakfast sandwich, I want you to think of this beautiful face right here. So we've just caught up. Inadvertently, Chris and I've actually met a couple of times.
I think so.
When I had Charlie Street.
10 years.
Yeah, being in the city. But as we look to build community here in New York City, Leon's is obviously just a huge part of what they've already done and success in doing so. So I was asking Chris, like, what is it that you look for from potential partnerships or collaborations? So he actually led in some really good advice, man. What do you got for us?
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, like, we get hit up by anybody and everybody, but I think what we really value most is working with community partners that are locally here in New York that really can cater to our audience as well as their audience and really be a value add for both of our peeps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to be just doing things with random companies and random people that aren't really aligned, not just brand, but also like vibe, you know?
Totally.
Super, super important to us.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, irrespective of anything, if you haven't been to New York City and got a bagel from Leon's, you need to. Alright team, so the next dish I'm going to show you is all around the salmon. Wonderful omega-3s, fantastic as we get into any form of block or prep. But the problem is, this thing is often overcooked and the skin is never crispy. So in this dish, I'm gonna put together a honey soy bok choy crispy skin garlic with some kimchi and rice. So let's get into this one. So the first thing we've done is we've added some salt to the skin. Now, what I'm about to show you is against the rules. You wouldn't typically see this. So it may shock a lot of you, and yes, I absolutely encourage the comments down below. We're gonna add this salmon to this pan without oil initially. So we're gonna remove the moisture from the top by adding our salt. We're then gonna put it on a medium heat pan. Just gonna press that down so it's not too hot, making sure all the skin is in direct contact with our pan itself. Look at that, crispy. By allowing this to cool, we're actually removing even more moisture because it's evaporating. And when we add it back to the pan, it's gonna get it super crispy. Now to make sure that salmon skin is getting direct contact the whole time, I'm gonna put a plate on top with the weight. And then just turn the heat down a little bit so it's at about a medium. So really controlling our heat. Look at that. That is golden. So we spent 90 seconds, no oil in the pan initially, about 2 minutes off. We then cooked it again for another 2 to 3 minutes and basted for about 30 seconds. Take a knife or a fork, insert it into the thickest part of your salmon, hold it. If it's warm, it's done. If it's piercing hot, you've overcooked it. I'm just gonna let that rest for a few more minutes and that's cooked. Meanwhile, we'll get onto our bok choy. So as I said, we're gonna serve this with bok choy. Bok choy, 3 times the amount of calcium as broccoli. Not that broccoli isn't also awesome. This is really simple to create. There's a lot of water in this. I'm gonna show you some technique to keep it crispy, but still have that nice, luscious, fresh textured center. Nice and meaty. So the thing about bok choy, the leafy side, cook pretty quickly, but because of the thickness and the way that the actual stalk or the meat is, this will take a little bit longer. Now this sauce is one of the easiest you'll ever create. 4 ingredients: garlic, honey, soy or tamari sauce, and lemon juice. That is how you make honey, soy, garlic bok choy with perfected crispy skin salmon. And yes, I broke some rules, so now it's your turn to do the same. We're talking about a fundamental protein that everyone cooks with, and then like a bok choy. And all we've done is just taken the same ingredients that everyone has and just not even elevated. We've just done intentional cooking. So today's session is a strength building one specifically for my posterior chain and my hamstring. I injured myself in Berlin, and prior to that I was injured as well, and so this is me about 2.5, 3 weeks after that event. So we're slowly coming back, we've allowed it to rest. We're now going to start building the strength just slowly, not going too far. My next major event is Dallas Doubles with Eric Hinman, so we've got to make sure we get there and be able to strike. So I've got 4K in the rower, then do some leg strengthening exercises before we get back to the kitchen. And because this is my session, I'm going to plug in. Alright, so this next one is something that everyone needs to know. We are talking about cooking a perfect steak. So bring it to room temperature, that way the center isn't cold, the outside's warm, and you don't get an uneven cooking. I've patted it dry, like this. I'll show you, I'll just give it a little pat. Nice and easy on both sides. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna season in that puppy. Now this may look insane, but this is what you need to do. A nice fine salt over the entire of the skin, that's it. Go to the other side, do the same thing. Salt brings out the crust because it draws moisture from the surface. So when you put in direct contact with the heat, what happens? It gets that nice caramelization, that crispiness. With our steak, we're also gonna cook up some potatoes. So we're gonna do like an elevated steak and potatoes. Now, you can do this a number of different ways. You can do mash. You could simply chop this up into chunks and roast it with olive oil, salt and pepper. It's so easy. I'm gonna show you another way. It's actually making a hash. And what it does is, I'm using an air fryer with the hash little shards, if you will, or the strands. And what that's gonna do is gonna cook even quicker. Look at that. Didn't evaporate. I can kind of like hockey puck this into one area. Look at this. He's moving around. That's how hot it is. Olio. Decent amount, not too much. I've got about 1 tablespoon in there. Cook towards the camera, away from me, and press down to all surface areas in contact. So we're looking for about a good 45 seconds here, then we do the 15-second turn. All right, 45 seconds on each side, 15-second turn. So a good little 45-second effort. Look at that, already. That's because of the heat. Same thing on the other side. Notice what I said? This is already getting that golden edge. So I've got my garlic. I'm just gonna smash it. That's gonna release some oils. Into the pan we go. Turn it again. So now I'm just turning it. Once I got that initial crust, I'm just turning it. And in goes our butter. Come inside for this. That's gonna start foaming up. We love the foam. We're now gonna let it rest. What we did, 15-second turn, not more than a minute. We added our butter in there to baste it, which helps with the golden color, gives it a gloss. Also does a bit of cleaning as well, which is pretty cool. But now it's time to let it sit, make our sauce quickly, and our potatoes. A dishcloth, a tea towel. Pretty simple. This is more nutritionally viable than broccoli fresh because these things were frozen after they were picked, and so they maintain more of their nutrition value. Tomato. Fancy here, crispy. Kind of like a medium direct char from this. So you see that, and then you got like the medium rare, a bigger percentage. Now that's because you did what we said, and that is the 15-second turn. That is all because of the 15-second turn. This is just elevated quick steak and potatoes. You learn how to cook the steak to perfection, something different with your potatoes, and then use frozen veg, in this case broccoli, to soak up that butter sauce down the bottom. Oh, and make a little sauce inside. How about that? So lately, to save time before bed, as I make my AGZ, I also make my overnight oats, which can help with my morning if I've got a lot of stacked meetings, but also ensures that I can get something quickly in, relatively after a workout. So this will just be a simple thing of oats, protein powder, and then soak with water. In the morning, it will be some maple syrup or honey, and then the fruit, which is just my personal favorite. Maybe make a jam. But again, I don't always have it. I sometimes save it because I have time to make my power bowl. It depends on my breakfast meetings are stacked, and that comes from planning. So here's the game changer about this. It's all about the ratios. Now, typically what I see is people overdo it or underdo it. They either don't realize how thirsty their oats are, or they overdo it and they make their oats swim. So when they get in the morning, it's really, really slushy. Here's my absolute go-to for your go meal. It would be to add water just to cover your oats and your protein. And in the morning, You mix it around, gradually add a little bit more liquid. It's like what we call a risotto. You only add liquid as you go, you don't add it all at once. This allows your oats to gradually absorb efficiently the liquid base, as opposed to either being soaked, drowning, or in the opposite way, just quite dry. So 2 ingredients, protein, carbs highlighted here. Anyone can do it. Add your fruit in the morning, a little bit of honey. That is your overnight oats. That is your go meal. So team, now that you know the 5 fundamental dishes that you must know in order to perform like an athlete, it's time to put them to work. Now I say this, but just like any skill, it does take practice. So do not be discouraged by the first attempt. If you do really well, congratulations. But just remember, continue to get the reps in. Now you know how to cook a steak, cook a chicken breast, salmon, of course the eggs, and the perfection on overnight oats. It is just truly important that you just continue to get the reps in. And if you're someone who's really wanting to learn more about nutrition, maybe you feel like you just have that missing link to whatever performance, whether it be your general well-being, maybe an endeavor such as a marathon, a 5K, some sort of high rocks, but you always want to coach, I now have the solution for you, because we have built Alma. It is a personalized AO nutrition coach, and you can simply click the link in the description down below, sign up, and you have your own nutrition coach. And if you want to see more of these videos and this is the first time visiting this channel, click the subscribe button. If there's a dish that you did not see tonight that you wish you learnt more about, let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise team, we will see you next week in another upcoming video. Ow!